I always like to go to the stories of the guests themselves that led them to what they're doing today and the great work you're doing. And I understand you healed from a severe back injury, autoimmune disease. Can you talk us through what even led you into that, being a doctor, and kind of the story that leads you up into today?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, it may be a journey that's similar to others that get into healthcare field from your own pain and suffering from yourself. But honestly, it can be from the pain and suffering of a loved one in your life where you feel powerless at times to be able to help them. And then that's the catalyst that pushes you into something, right? And that's the way it was for me. Initially, I got into chiropractic medicine. I graduated from chiropractic college in 1997. And my original journey for that was for unrelenting back pain that just was not going away over and over and over. And then it helped me stand up again. And I said, this is pretty amazing. I would like to do this for other people, right? And then along that journey, I just grew and expanded as a person, as a human being, as a practitioner. And then later on in life, I developed other types of complications and issues, some autoimmune disorders, some inflammation. And people always ask me, well, what was your diagnosis? What was it? I didn't really have a diagnosis. It felt like I had everything, honestly. And that was a really big learning experience for me because I was trying everything that I've learned up to that point to heal myself with what was coming at me, but it wasn't working. Mm. So automatically I knew I needed to think differently. My concepts had to completely change. And the people that I was seeking help from, they weren't helping me either, right? And then I thought, well, then I have to look at it differently than what they're looking at it. And that's what led me on to the journey that I teach a lot now in relationship to the lymphatic system of the body, because that's one of the biggest things that I began to do that flipped a switch for everything, honestly. So it was just one level of pain or suffering after another that instilled the need for me to change. And that actually helped form my definition of what pain means for myself. And pain very often means suffering for people, right? But pain is always a protective response. Your body's trying to protect you from something that can be far worse than where it is now. But pain is a request for change. That's the way I look at it now. And a request from whom or what? Well, your body, and then to change what? Well, the easy answer is yes. I don't know what it is. I just know it needs to be different than what you've been doing up to this point, because obviously that's not working. And sometimes it's just a matter of changing your definition of what pain means. Like, honestly, if you can change the definition from punishment to protection, that makes a big difference on your healing journey.
Right. And that's the unique thing, I think, about a lot of what conventional medicine does. Sees symptoms as bad things. And like you said, tries to put a diagnosis on you based off those symptoms and treat that. And it's really not a treatment. It's more of a managing or a suppression. We use painkillers to suppress the pain. Is it gone? No, it's just suppressed in a sense. And that idea that we require a diagnosis to do that, as you said, is a little bit of a fallacy. I remember writing once an article I published called "The Death of the Diagnosis." And it pissed off a lot of doctors because they said, without a diagnosis, you can't do anything, right? Whereas the diagnosis, as you know, is just a description. Most people go into a set protocol for the diagnosis that's not take into their unique factors or not take into the idea of why the pain is even there. The why is not a non-factor. It's the what. It's a diagnosis, and you take these drugs. And if you don't get better, we go on and go on.